All right, y'all, we're gonna check out this boudoir photographer. Gonna see if their local search and their city search, if they got BSS for either of those searches. We only got one search for them today. And we're back here in the GBC universe where we're taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star here is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. More on that pinned post, home video, pinned video, somewhere around here. And that's because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So we got our FSIC graph here in white. Highest intent peeps on the left. These are peeps searching for both boudoir photo shoot in their city today. I focus on them and make videos about actually getting them to come to us. Here, videos about BSS. Over on the right, there's the lowest intent peeps. We talk about getting these peeps to come to us on our sister brand or sister channel, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor, where we talk about BLCS. And currently over there, we only work with boudoir photographers running more than 10 grand per month in boudoir Facebook ads. So BSS boudoir search sameness. That's when a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. Both are bad. 0, extra bad. If we got 0 slots page 1, that means we're page 2 or deeper. And we know approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page 2. So if we end on page 1, we're visible to approximately 80% of searchers, approximately 80% of buyers, approximately 80% of the market, so the bulk of the market. Bad, extra bad. Also, 1 slot page 1, that ain't good enough anymore. That's bad as well, because guess what? There's 9 other organic slots page 1. It's probably going to be 9 other boudoir photographers there, so everyone's got 1 slot. We're looking the same as everyone else. Not standing out, not looking special. So boudoir buyer, what they're going to do is they're just going to click down, open everyone's website, opens everyone's website up and, literally get a quote, fill out everyone's contact form, get a quote from everyone, price shop, price compare, negotiate, waste everyone's time, blah, blah, blah. And, only 10% of the time we're going to get that person to buy from us. So that other 90% of the time we're wasting it. And 0-1 slots on page 1 Google is actually not normal. It's not normal to have such a small few number of page 1 links on Google search. But it is accepted and it is, commonplace, but it's not normal. It's actually a symptom of 2 deeper root causes. And I know this is normal because I went from 0 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google search, to 9 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google search in only 10 days utilizing this new methodology we developed. Now, these 2 deeper root causes here are 1, market saturation, 2, the false belief of page 1 equality. Market saturation, basically everyone knows about that. Over time, people get kind of new devices, new gear, new iPhone, new camera, and eventually people throw up their Google My Business profile, so then they now shoot boudoir, or they throw up their, website saying they now are a boudoir photographer, or they're posting them on Facebook groups that they now offer boudoir photo shoots. So it's more boudoir photographers competing for the same number of buyers makes it harder for every single boudoir photographer. Now, the false belief of page 1 equality, this is new to most people. Very, very, it used to be very common to accept this. Very common to accept that, every boudoir photographer is, gets 0-1 slots page 1 on Google, and either you get it or you don't, and it's not much you can do about it. And even if you had 1 slot on page 1 on Google, well, maybe there's some market saturation, and that slot, goes away, or then you go down to page 2. Well, you got to kind of hope those people leave the market, and then hope Google puts you back on page 1. So it's kind of like a learned helplessness belief, but it's not true. We've learned it's not true because, again, I went from 0 out of 10 slots page 1 Google search to 9 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google search in only 10 days. So we know the false belief page 1 equality. Now we know that it is exactly that, a false belief. We also know that a boudoir photographer with BSS is a disappearing boudoir photographer, DBP. And yeah, dude, if we're on page 2 or deeper, we're invisible to approximately 80% of the marketplace. If we're on page, and if we're on page 1, everyone else has got 1 slot on, all the other 9 competitors got 1 slot as well. So we're essentially invisible as well. So if we're on page 2 or deeper, we're dying fast. If we're on page 1 with 1 slot, we're dying slow. But both cases, we're disappearing boudoir photographer, which actually is kind of like the warning light, the red flag, the canary in the coal mine that tells us our boudoir photography business itself is actually on the path to disappearing. It's now starting down that path. Thankfully, we have discovered a solution though. We've discovered that BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka S cubed methodology. And it works exactly as it says. You know, we saturate social search with the highest intent Boudoir buyer keywords, making sure that we show up there. And what this acts like is basically like the snow at the top of the Andes Mountains, the eastern side, the backside of these Andes Mountains down in South America. The snow up there, what it does is it, all year it's melting into streams, melting, the streams, small streams, flow into small rivers, but it all eventually comes to be collected in the Amazon River. That's where all the water actually comes from. And that page one of Google search is the Amazon River, but we got to first stuff, SQ methodology. We got to first saturate, do social search saturation, put the snow up there at the top of the mountain, so then it can, all those videos, links can flow into page one of Google search. And this is the only solution I've seen for boudoir photographers that can actually enable them to grow during periods where the market's getting more and more saturated every day, and give them that opportunity in a relatively quick time frame. The only other solution I've seen allow people to do that is having a large, well-known brand, but that takes on average, 5 to 10 years. We ain't got 5 to 10 years anymore, dude. AI is here. We need results. We need a opportunity ASAP. And actually, interestingly enough, SQ methodology, by my estimates, can actually help those actually build a large, well-known brand approximately 8x faster than all these other kind of, standard ways of doing it, just because we're doing more volume on more surfaces and showing up in the right places way more often over time. It's kind of like a double bonus of utilizing S-cube methodology. So example now. All right, so we are right now going to, let's say, we're going to Boise, Idaho. And there are 1 million boudoir photographers in Boise, Idaho. We're one of them. Everyone's got a website saying they do boudoir photography. And as a result, everyone's website's trying to rank page one on Google as much as possible. Ultra competitive. We're like, man, we ain't got no large, well-known brand. Literally the only thing left that allows us to compete effectively is SQ'd methodology. So we decided to crank it to the max, like way more than a average boudoir photographer would. And let's say we're taking up the first, 300 slots of social search across all the social platforms, and then that flows onto Google search. And let's say we're taking up the first 300 organic slots on Google. Well, it's 10 organic slots, per page on Google. So we're literally taking basically the first 30 pages of Google. So whenever a boudoir buyer searches for us anywhere digitally, we basically got like the first 300 slots to ourselves. So we are, basically like, we're basically the only one they can find, whether they're searching social media, they're searching Google, basically the only one they can find. So in this case, they'd have to, scroll to slot 301, or would that be on Google page 31 to find us? And so in this case, whose business is growing? Whose boudoir photography business is growing? Most likely only ours, because we're basically the only one that can be found by buyers. And whose boudoir photography businesses are dying, disappearing, going invisible? Well, most likely the other 999,999 boudoir photographers competing against us in Boise, Idaho. And so this is, kind of an ultra example of what S-cube methodology, kind of the opportunity it could give to a boudoir photography business, but this is like an ultra extreme version, ultra extreme example version. Now, once treated with S-cube methodology, we have page one visibility. So yeah, we're getting more links page one Google search. And the second initial benefit we're getting is every new link we get on page one Google search, good for us. And we're actually kicking a competing boudoir photographer off page one, effectively making them invisible. This is awesome. So we can literally control how many of our competitors are on page one of Google search are not organic by our effort in acquiring these organic Google slots. And it's good because these slots have some momentum, not infinite momentum, but they do have some momentum. Unlike Google PPC ads or any ads, that momentum goes to zero the instant you stop paying for them. And let's see. Yeah, so a lot of boudoir photographers like this. They're like kick their competitors off. And page one visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us BSV. This is where the GBC universe recommends hitting a minimum or having a minimum of 3 out of 10 slots page one Google search as the minimum. More is obviously better, but that's because basically every other boudoir photographer is going to have one slot each on page one. So if we got 3, we're dominating. Everyone else has got 1. We're actually standing out, actually looking unique. And the super rare train, someone has 2. Well, we still got 3, so we're dominating them as well. So we're basically dominating in all scenarios here. We also know that boudoir photographer with BSV is a visible boudoir photographer, a VBP. So this is our micro universe here. A disappearing boudoir photographer with BSS boudoir search sameness is caused by the dual horns of market saturation and the false belief of page one equality. Thankfully, we now have a solution. Thank the universe. SQ'd methodology. We use that to achieve page one visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer, and have boudoir search visibility. All right, so now my results utilize an SQ methodology. So I actually wanted to rank for this keyword, I want to dominate page one for this keyword, BLCS boudoir. So I went to work purely utilizing SQ methodology. And see my results. We're going down the organic slots. So organic slot 1, Instagram, me. Slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. Slot 10, me. And so I went from 0 to 10 slots, Google page 1, to 9 out of 10 slots, Google page 1 search in only 10 days, purely utilizing SQ'd methodology. All right, main event here. Gonna see if this boudoir photography business has BSS for their local and city search, but it looks like they got one search here. So we're combining the local and city. We're also gonna see if they hit the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots on page one of Google search. All right, so DeLand, Florida. All right, so, all right, we're here. All right, we got one slot. And yeah, one slot. Two slots, okay. That boudoir's in kind of the body text, smaller. But all right, we'll give you 2 slots here. All right, so we got 2 out of 10 slots, so good. So we do not have BSS, boudoir search sameness. We got 2 out of 10 slots, but we did not hit the recommended GBC. GBC recommended minimum 3 out of 10 slots in our search. So if you're a disappearing boudoir photographer, you've done your local search, you've done your city search, and you actually see, you've got BSS for either or both of them, or you're not meeting GBC minimum, recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 page one Google slots for either or both of them. And you're like, all right, you realize you got BSS. You understand page one equality. There's a false belief, and you're like, all right, I broke through that. I need to achieve, I need to get as many page one Google slots as possible. And you also understand the market saturation with, new iPhones, more boudoir photographers coming in, new cameras, more boudoir photographers coming in. But you're also looking ahead and you're saying, man, AI is taking a ton of people's jobs. Last time a bunch of people lost their job, COVID, a huge tsunami of boudoir photographers coming in. So you've actually decided, hey, you got to fortify your life right now and actually get as many page one slots on Google, which is only a downflow of getting as many page one slots on social search for all the social network searches. That's downstream of that. Before all these boudoir photographers come into the market, come into the city, and start making their websites, ranking, competing for page one, kind of like prepare, kind of like the levees in New Orleans, since the city's below sea level, kind of like build those levees up to prevent floodwaters or the flood of boudoir photographers from taking your market share. And you're seeing, okay, SQ'd methodology is the only solution that can get me there effectively. And you want to achieve page one visibility, hit the GBC minimum, recommended minimum of 3 out of 10. become a visible boudoir photographer, have boudoir search visibility, because you know you need this on your way to become the #1 boudoir photographer in your city. And you also know that you actually, there's actually hidden back-end benefits of doing this SQ methodology as well we have not talked about yet. First one would be in kind of, we're building thematic keyword columns about around our brand name, our social handles, our website, and all that. As we do SQ methodology more and more, it increases the probability we get actually recommended for AI overviews. Here at the top, premium placement, only one slot for local search and city search. And you also want the back-end benefits of every time we execute another day we execute SQ methodology, increasing the probability we get recommended through all the AI search engines, ChatGPT search, Claude search, Perplexity search, Microsoft Copilot search, Google Gemini search. These all run on, thematic keyword clusters, authority, age. And so every day we execute the SQ methodology, we're increasing that, probably getting recommended there. And we know more, literally, Google still has, I believe, like 89 or 90% of global search share. But due to AI search, using more and more and eating into Google every single day. I haven't used standard Google search in literally like a year to actually click websites and open and read stuff. I've always been using the Google AI mode. And so you want these back-end benefits. You also decide you want to be the first mover in your city, because you recognize, my current plan is to only work with one person per city on this. So you kind of want to box out your competitors, and kind of achieve all this front-end results, more hit the GBC minimum 3 out of 10 on page 1, kick out competitors off page 1, effectively make them invisible to approximately 80% of searchers who never go to page 2, and build these momentum on the back end, which is higher probability AI overview, higher probability being recommended AI search, and higher probability nobody in your city ever catches you. Putting more distance between you and them, by building up this thematic keyword columns attached to your brand for the backend for AI search engines to be recommending into the future. Because I know last time I used Google or ChatGPT to search for boudoir photographers in a city, dude, it recommended, it only gave me 3. I'm like, what? There's like 60 in this city. It literally only displayed 3. So we want a higher chance of being those 3. And you also know if someone else in your city jumps on this first, they lock you out, well, you're gonna have to derive or figure out SQ methodology on your own, and then you have to go execute it, but you won't be confident executing it because you don't know if you even derived it correctly to use it correctly. And then you'd have to equal our output with your competitor to just maintain the gap. You'd have to actually exceed our output with your competitor for us, to actually make up ground on us, and kind of take back the momentum that we're building in the back end AI search and the front end results we get kicking you off page 1 of Google. So you've decided, screw that. I'd rather be the first mover in my city, give myself the highest chance of blocking out all the boudoir photographers coming from AI. They're going to be forced losing their jobs, but people still got to earn money. And you decide SQ methodology is the solution you want, the path you want to take. So shoot me a DM. Not right now. My DMs are full, or my DMs are closed. The hospital we're not taking any new patients right now, but